Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope you're having a great holiday season or otherwise commemorating in a special way the end of the year that is just ending. Today, we have one of 5 bonus episodes for this Christmas week. Today, we talk about how to define value together with your PO. There's 4 more topics that are going to be discussed this week, so stay tuned for those 4 topics coming up this week. Each of these episodes is a companion to the Coach Your Product Owner e-course that you can get at bit.ly/coach your PO. That's all one word, all lowercase. That's bit.ly/coach your PO. This week we cover 5 topics that every Scrum Master should be able to help their POs work on. And each of these 5 topics is a complement to one of the modules in that Coach Your PO e-course. More about that later. But let's start with today's episode. Today's Monday, and we will discuss how to define, measure, and use the definition of business value to be able to help your PO make decisions. Now, I want to start with an anecdote. Just recently, I was training a group of POs in the banking industry, and they had been working for a while in the system. They had a pretty clear backlog, quite long backlog, and of course, they also had the pressure of delivering before a very strict deadline. Now, this is a very common situation for many of us. I'm sure that we can all relate to the need to deliver on a backlog of items, typically pretty long backlog of items that has already been defined, and also under the pressure of a deadline. This pressure is so strong that a friend of mine coined the phrase being a slave to the backlog to illustrate how strong that pressure is and how sometimes powerless we feel. Now, with this group of POs that I was training, we did some exercises to define what value means for them, not just for them overall, for the whole set of functionality that they were working on together, but also value for them individually, for their parts of the product that they were working on. Once that was defined and we had a clear goal and associated metrics for each of the goals that they had defined, we asked the POs to review their existing backlog and decide what would be included and what would not be included in their upcoming deliveries. And the answer from them was unanimous. They said that after defining value clearly, it was much easier to make decisions. And this is a key insight and a key aspect for us as Scrum Masters to take into account. Once the value definition is clear, it's much easier to make decisions. So therefore, it makes it quite clear that for us who want to help our POs, or if we are POs ourselves, defining value becomes a critical aspect of our work. So where do we look? How do we get started? How do we go about defining and measuring value? These are important questions for us. Now, one of the critical aspects in defining value is that the value for a product must be derived from the strategy of the company. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we will talk more about how to measure it in practice. However, to get us started, let's first try to help POs understand the value for their products by starting from the strategy of the company. Now, not every company will have a crystal clear strategy defined. That's okay. If that's the case, we must first help the product owner facilitate conversations with key stakeholders so that they understand how their product contributes to what's expected from the company, what's the success definition for the company. And that is the first tip. We start by asking for our company what the success look like. And if that's success for our company, then how is our product supposed to contribute to that success? Those are 2 critical questions: success for the company and how our product contributes to that success. Once we understand the strategy and what is expected from the product we work on, then the next step is to transform that into something concrete and specific for the product. So we must therefore translate the product's strategic goal into a concrete and measurable goal for us so that we know whether we are contributing to the company's strategic goal or not. So how do we translate the company strategy, and the role of our product into a concrete and measurable goal. This is where the second tip comes in. We need to work with the product owner to define the business model and the contribution of our product to that business model. So what is this business model? The business model is just how our company transforms the work into value. So for example, some products may need to focus on reducing costs or speeding up some processes that already exist. If that's the case, then obviously we need to be able to measure those costs or process performance and work with the stakeholders in those areas to come up with ideas on how to reach those goals. So let's take a concrete example. Let's say that Luke, our intrepid Scrum Master, is helping Leia, our ambitious product owner, to define a concrete goal for their product. After understanding that their product's goal is to contribute to the speed at which call center calls get answered, i.e. reduce wait time, they get together with the call center team to discuss what are the reasons that calls stay in waiting. After brainstorming, they list some of those causes, and they discover that one of the causes for delays is that the call center operatives need to do a time-intensive data entering task after each call ends, therefore delaying their ability to get to the next caller. Once they learn about this, Luke and Leia go back to the team and, they do some brainstorming and they figure out a few ideas that could help. With those ideas, they think of a few experiments. And experiments here are critical, right? We have an assumption of what would help. Once we have that, we schedule another session with the call center team to try some of them out. We prepare the experiments, we go to them, and we run those experiments in practice. These experiments are only possible because Luke and Leia have a clear goal. They know exactly how to measure the step in the process they need to affect, and therefore they will be able to know which of their ideas actually works. Now, compare this with the traditional activity, which is brainstorm with the team and then add all of those items to the backlog. That's not what we want. This concrete and measurable goal is extremely important because it makes it easier to make decisions, and it creates the necessary feedback cycle for us to be able to check which of our solutions actually helps. Because obviously, without trying them out, we don't actually know what helps. So when it comes to helping the product owner define value, the key steps are: first, understand the company strategy. Second, understand how the product we work on contributes to that strategy and to those strategic goals. And third, understand the product-specific metrics that make that strategic contribution specific and measurable. So the three steps are: first, start from the company strategy, then ask ourselves and the stakeholders, how does our product contribute to those strategic goals? And third, figuring out the specific metrics that make that strategic contribution specific and measurable. Tomorrow we'll talk more about how to measure, right? Like the details that come from that. But today I want to mention the Coach Your Product e-course modules that this particular episode is a complement to. Remember, you can get all the details about the e-course and also get the e-course itself at bit.ly/coachyourpo, all one word, all lowercase. We have two versions of the e-course, and in version 2, module 2, we talk about how Scrum Masters can onboard a new or beginner product owner. And this includes a specific technique to help the product owners and stakeholders define product-specific goals, which is the step 3 of the process we just discussed, right? Understand company strategy, understand how the product contributes to that strategy, and then define a product-specific goal. So module 2 of version 2 of the e-course goes through a process of how to get there, how to get to that goal, concrete and measurable goal. Also, module 8, titled The Critical Documents for a Product that the Product Owner is Responsible for and How They Help the Success of the Product and the Team. This module 8 talks about impact mapping, which is a process to translate a strategic goal or any goal into concrete potential experiments that we could run in order to get to that goal. And in version 1 of the course, we also discuss what kind of metrics are useful or not useful. That's important. And that's module 3 of version 1. And it's titled Metrics That Drive Product Success, Actionable Metrics versus Vanity Metrics. You can get more information about the course and purchase it at bit.ly/coach-your-PO. That's bit.ly/coach-your-PO. If you think that, on the other hand, getting coaching for you or for your product owner is a better option, you can contact us at coaching@oikosofi.com. We have a cohort coming up, and if you're interested, just drop us an email and we will give you more information. To finish off, keep learning and keep helping your team. Tomorrow we will talk about how to help the product owner measure value. See you tomorrow.
We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.